Hey toy fans, Aaron here. And with Force Friday now upon us, we've all been able to get our hands on those new Last Jedi figures and merchandise. And so I thought we'd kick things off with the Force Link starter set, since you're going to need this bracelet to activate all the sounds and features that come with the figures and vehicles and stuff. So let's head to that table and check this out. And starting off first with the packaging, this is of course in the Last Jedi branded packaging. That gets you the red Star Wars logo with the white background, and you're seeing Poe Dameron and Rey and Finn in the background there in the upper right corner. It's pretty nice packaging overall. This does include a Kylo Ren figure, so you see him in the window packaging on the right side, and then of course you got various artwork of characters from the movie, the ships and such, and of course a little bit on this side here describing what you're able to do with it, showing you that it works with figures, with ships, with animals, creatures, whatever, beast assortments. And then flipping over to the back side, gives you some examples of the figures and how it works, that it says phrases, that there's some motion activation to this as you move your wrist, that it makes lights and sounds happen on your vehicles. And then on the bottom half, you got other figures and play sets, woo, I love saying play sets, that are also available in the line. So taking a look at this out of the packaging, it's a pretty neat looking device. I can't say if this is going to resemble anything in the movie or not because, well, we haven't seen it yet. I only mention that because, of course, if you remember back in '99, we had the Comtech reader that was based off of, the Jedi's communicator. So there's a look at that. Obviously, much bigger device, a lot thicker as well. Almost the same in length, really, but just that thickness is more, and it's also heavier than this new Force Link device we have. Lots of nice detailing in the molding of the plastic, though. It's a little look at the back side, I guess, if you will. This is the part that sits on your skin of the back of your hand. This goes on your forearm. You got a stretchy Velcro strap here to get your hand in and tighten it up. And looking at the other side, darker color gray, little silver line going through here. Your speaker, and you got some lights on the inside that come out of this area. Batteries, 3 AAAs go in this compartment. And I am guessing that the sensor is based in this part that goes against the hand for reading the chip inside the figure. I'm not entirely certain, but I'll get into why I think that here in just a little bit. So overall, it's a nice little device. Now, as far as getting your hand in for your adult people, it's a little bit of a tight squeeze getting your hand in, but a little stretch will be just fine. Get that back over. And I gotta get my hand off the camera real quick. All right. So I had to tighten that strap off camera because it's easier for me to reach. So it's pretty tight for us adult people. But there's how it sits on the wrist. And then if you put your figure in your hand, the idea is... Sorry, real quick, I forgot. You got to turn it on and you give it a tap on top. Hopefully you heard that noise. And I can't twist my hand around, but there are lights that turned on in here. So the idea is you hold the figure in your hand. Oh, there it read. And that activates your sound. I did... See, it's going to prove me wrong now. Earlier today, I was having a hard time getting it to work. I actually had to use my kid's hand because it was thinner and it worked every time. But right now, I don't seem to be having any problems. So there's that. Every time you go against the hand here, the theory is it's going to say align. So there, it's not going. But like I said, in the hands of a smaller child, it seemed to work a lot more, which is why I think the sensor is located in the back of this disc area. It's just not getting through the thickness of my hand. And for this demo here, it's easier just for me to take this off my wrist since I'd have to stretch out too far. But the idea is you can also, aside from getting the voice lines, you can slide your hand either forward or back or side to side, depending on the figure, I believe. And in the case of Kylo Ren here, it seems to only have sound effects when you go forward or back. And there you get the sound of the lightsaber igniting. So nothing side to side, but forward and back. And then now I'm just going to touch the figure against the side and we can listen to what the lines are.
Show me again the power of the darkness. I will let nothing stand in our way. Show me again the power of the darkness. I will let nothing stand in our way.
So it seems with Kylo Ren here we get 2 lines. And I have to say the quality of the sound seems a lot better than what we got in '99 with the Comtech chips. And for a little bit of comparison, in case anyone's not familiar with what the Comtech reader was back in '99, the figures at that time came with these little chips, and you would place it on your reader.
The Gungans must draw the droid army away from the cities.
As you can tell, it sounds nothing like Padme.
Let's go!
It's kind of like a little speak and say or whatever those things were called when I was a kid. So yeah, certainly the sounds on this new device are much better than what we got in '99. Taking a look at the Kylo Ren figure out of the packaging. I'll keep the cloak off for now so you get a decent look at the entire figure. Now this is a new figure and it's a little bit different than what you're going to get from the single carded version. This one here does have his whole helmet. It's not removable. So the helmet is just strictly attached to the figure. So it really comes down to the single card version of Kylo Ren. You've got him without his helmet on, and on this release here, you're going to get him with his helmet on. So looking in closer on that head sculpting or the helmet sculpting, it's looking pretty good. Everything looks kind of the same as what we saw in Force Awakens, so it would appear that maybe he doesn't have any helmet changes here. The silver painting around the rim of the face looks really good. Going into the main body and the arms, again, pretty good sculpting throughout that entire area. You got the lines, kind of like that ribbing look or whatever, going down the sleeve of him into his hands. And then the main body looks like it's kind of like this quilted pattern to it. It's looking pretty good though. Going down to the belt area, that silver painting looks pretty nice and tight. You know, it doesn't seem sloppy at all. And then through the legs, you got some nice folds and stuff sculpted in for the fabric. And those boots look pretty nice and glossy. As far as the articulation for Kylo Ren goes, that head does swivel around side to side. And you get an ever so bit of up and down movement. Really not much worth bragging about. Even though it's on a ball joint, there's not a lot of play in the back of his helmet or in the chin area. At the shoulders, each arm does go up and down. No problems there. And then at the leg area, you're able to bring those legs forward and back a little bit. The back side of his butt does square off instead of being rounded. So it eventually gets in the way of the legs moving any farther back. But I don't know how much more you'd need to move those anyways. And since this is just the basic figure, no ankle, no knee articulation, and no waist articulation in him either. And now it's probably a pretty safe bet to say that any of the new figures in this line and vehicles are going to all be Force Link compatible. But just in case you start to wonder, you're going to look at the bottom of the foot, and if you see that little mark, that's going to let you know that the figure you're holding is indeed Force Link compatible and will work with the bracelet, giving you, added sounds and stuff. As far as the accessories go, he does come with his cloak. Nice sculpting detailing in it. You get some seams through the back side of the cloak here, kind of sculpted in there. And then on this right side here, it does look that the fabric is kind of molded as if it's folded back. And that's one of the variances you're going to get on this cloak compared to the one that's on the single card. That's more just straight, doesn't have that fold back look to it. As far as putting that on, just kind of snaps on over his shoulders and then just rests there. I will say one thing about this figure. Once you add this cloak on, it makes him pretty back heavy. So I've been having a real hard time getting him to stay forward. I mean, there's that, but look the way he's actually posed. Kind of making a tripod out of the legs and cape. So definitely some added articulation in the feet area would have helped the cause to allow, get some better foot placement on that. But otherwise, he's going to keep falling. Going in on his lightsaber, as expected, it's still got his crossguard on there. I do think this seems to be a little bit more vibrant red than what we had on the Force Awakens releases for this figure. And I don't recall the hilt of his lightsaber being such a dark gray color. But otherwise, you do still have a fair amount of detail sculpted into that hilt. And as you see, you still got that kind of crackled look molded into the blade of the lightsaber as well. So overall, my thoughts on the figure. Good looking figure. Obviously, I wish there was more articulation, certainly since the center of gravity gets off when you put that heavy cape on. But we know we're going to get some of those figures here coming next year. As far as the Force Link reader, as someone who just collects the toys and doesn't really do much playing and interacting with them, I could take it or leave it. It's not a big draw for me. I will say that a feature like this into a toy, I kind of like better than getting those big oversized accessory things that we were getting with the figures these last few years. I will say that as I use this with vehicles that makes the lights and sounds happen, I might have a stronger positive feeling towards this. But as far as it interacting with the figures, it's neat, but I All right, that wraps up this look at the Force Link starter set. I'd love to know your thoughts on this kind of, technology. Do you like this being added into the figures? Do you wish that there were different accessories included? Or maybe no accessories and maybe just a little lower price point? So anyways, let me know in the comments section below. And as always, thanks for watching.